July meeting. Certainly time for our ice cream social, and we're all looking forward to that. And so if we would, I'm not real big on saying prayers and whatnot as far as speaking them. So what I'm going to do is just say the Lord's Prayer for starters. And so if anyone wants to join, you're welcome to, or if not, you don't, so you don't have to. But Father, who art in heaven,
thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Yeah, we stand and say
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Y'all will come on in. And anyway, this is going to be a relatively short meeting. I hope that everybody has been able to make it through the electrical power situation. I think that's a major reason why we don't have as many people here as we normally do. Our family and several others here that I know are still without power. And hopefully power will be restored for everybody very soon. And I know that the people at MLG have been working real hard. There's been, they've bought repair trucks and personnel in from other areas to help out in this situation. And so once again, hopefully everybody here will be restored to power relatively soon. And we certainly hope that anyone in any outlying areas that are affected by this that their situation is corrected soon also. Since we did not have power, we've not had any kind of television communications or internet communications or anything of that nature, which to some extent has been kind of blessed. But there's other parts of it, as anyone without power knows, that it's certainly not very pleasant. So everybody has our deepest sympathies if you're currently still facing this situation. And but anyway, though, we didn't realize until afterwards that this storm affected a lot more than just Memphis and Shelby County area. Apparently there was areas all throughout West Tennessee and even going to Middle Tennessee that were seriously affected by this too. So it was not just local, it was pretty widespread. But what we're going to do, in just a minute, I'm going to introduce our speaker for tonight. And then after that, we're going to discuss anything of any local announcements or issues or anything that anyone might want to say something about. And then we'll just conclude the meeting after that, and then we'll meet again this next month. But as of right now, though, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome as our speaker a gentleman who has served the Raleigh and Fraser area, or not just that, but the Memphis area and Shelby County area in a number of different capacities for many years. He was also has been active with the board membership of our organization in the past. He's a good friend of mine. He ran for state senator representative in 2010 and was elected. And due to a special election, due to the untimely death of our previous state representative Ulysses Jones, and Ulysses was a wonderful representative for us, and we certainly didn't lose him. But we couldn't have a better representative to replace him than Antonio Parkinson. And like I say, he won the election in 2010. His state representative service started in 2011. He is relatively recently retired from the fire department from many years of service, but he's just an outstanding individual who is very, very community-minded. And I can't think of a better person to represent our area as far as the state representative than Mr. Antonio Parkinson. And please come up now and celebrate.
Thank you, Urban, for a great introduction. I feel like I should be calling somebody else up here. Thank you for that. That was awesome. You know, coming before the Raleigh Community Council is honestly just simply coming home for me. You know, as Urban stated, I served on the executive board of the RCC before, and have been honestly been part of this organization, I think, since 2006, I believe it was. So we got 11 years of a marriage here between myself and RCC. I'm married to all of y'all, and happily married to all of y'all. You know, I just want to touch on a couple of things, and first of all, let me thank the executive board and Faye for allowing me to be here before you to speak. I also want to say thank you again for allowing me to represent you in Nashville and to serve as your state representative. I take that honor and that privilege seriously, and it's important to me, and I hope I'm representing you well. You know, there's a lot of things that go on in Nashville that we have to fend off, that would be detrimental to our city. Shelby County is not the most liked county at the state capitol for whatever reason. I don't know what that reason is. Shelby County is also, in a lot of cases, the whipping board for other legislators from outside of West Tennessee, the dumping grounds for the worst legislation, and we're up there literally fighting to make sure that they don't use Shelby County in that manner. But I also have to say that Shelby County is the largest taxpayer to the state of Tennessee. So you would think that they would be putting Shelby County up on a pedestal. You know, we pay more taxes out of Shelby County to the state of Tennessee than any other county in the entire state of Tennessee. And now there's this push, this PR push to say that Nashville is the largest city in the state, but Nashville is counting the city of Nashville and Metro Davidson County in their numbers. We're just counting Memphis in our numbers. So if we count Memphis and Shelby County as a metro form of government, they're not even close to where we are in numbers and population. But I will say this, Nashville is growing leaps and bounds. There are tons of cranes in the air. Their skyline changes every time I go back. There's a new building coming up, a new skyscraper, a new something with a crane in the air. And for me, that's problematic because I'm kind of jealous and I want those cranes in the air in our city.
Amen.
And we need to get back to building our city, our capacity, and bringing, not just bringing jobs that hire temporary agencies to fill those jobs, but jobs that hire people directly and are well-paying jobs. And that's part of my mission. That's part of my goal is to make Memphis and Shelby County, and specifically Raleigh, attractive to businesses, and to bring those businesses here, and bring those jobs here, bring more home ownership here, which of course also reduces crime in our communities as well. So thank you again for allowing me to be here to talk to you. Just a couple of things that I want to touch on. I only wrote maybe about an hour and a half worth of stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. But I'll condense it to about 15 minutes. If that's okay. Maybe 7 minutes. That's okay. I just want to tell you also, as your state representative, we had a real good year this year. Really good year. You know, if you're a state legislator and you are able to pass one bill in a legislative session year, you're doing really well. Really, really well. And I don't know if y'all can reflect back to your civic classes, but it is a process to pass a bill. at the Tennessee legislature, or at any legislature as a matter of fact, because that bill has to run up one side and run up the other side, run up the House side and run up the Senate side pretty much at the same time. And it has to go through and be vetted by every legislator that has been elected in the state of Tennessee. And then it has to go to the governor's desk if it gets through that process to be signed into law. So if you pass one, you're doing great. I think this year we passed maybe 7 to 9 different bills into law this year. And so it was a pretty good year for us. And all of our legislation, I want to say, is very meaningful and very well thought out. And it's not just me. You know, it's not just me. I may be the pretty face of the outfit, but I have look, somebody objected to that. Objection. Yeah. But I do have a great team, both here locally and in our at the Capitol in our office in Nashville. And also one of my interns who worked in the Capitol with me is here. Stand up, Cedric. This is Cedric Williams. He worked in the Capitol. I believe in supporting and building the young talent. He is an extremely talented young man. He's almost finished college, and he came to intern here at the district office in the off season also. So y'all give him one more round of applause. And he's awesome. And we have, my daughter is here, Kirsten Parkinson. Stand up, Kirsten. She's grown since last year. Y'all seen her probably. Right, and you know, we're on our way to Washington, D.C. Next week because she's been invited to, as part of the Young Leaders, the National Young Leaders Conference in Washington, D.C., where she's going to spend a week there. And they told me to bring her to the conference and get out of the way. And so I'll just be hanging out in D.C. Actually, while I'm in D.C., I'm going to be meeting with Congressman Cohen, and I'm also trying to meet with our senators so we can discuss some of the things that's going on in DC also. So proud of our team. We also have 2 other interns that are working in the district office, April Jones and Jeffrey Winston. So we got a good team because our goal, even though we're out of session, we will not stop working. Our goal is to continue to churn. As a matter of fact, session ended, and you gotta understand the pace of session. The pace is boom, 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 fast, 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 trying to get it done. And so when it ended, it's like I was sitting there thinking, I'm starting to go stir crazy already. Like, man. So we go from 110 miles per hour to a dead stop. And that's how it sounds when it comes to that dead stop. All of the noise you hear every day, getting up early, going to bed early, you know, working, you're mentally tired, and then all of a sudden it's over with. And you don't know what to do with yourself. So I started working on legislation for the next year. So we're already planning and working on legislation for next year. Also, that just walked in, this is Bridget Bradley. Bridget, stand up, wave your hand if you will. Bridget Bradley works with us in our local office here, and so we are one. I try to tell you, I keep smarter people around me than I am. Yeah, so that's part of the smarter team. Don't tell them that's why I got them. But they're all much smarter than me, so it makes me look real good. And so here at the district office, so you know, our address is 5146 Stage Road, 5146 Stage Road. I think we've had a district office I think we had a district office before we were elected, as a matter of fact. And so 5146 Stage Road, number 102, Suite 102, and it's right across the parking lot from the Fire Department Union office in the Primacy Oaks office park. It's those office parks behind Walgreens. So we're the second one, the one with the water coming up out of the little fountain, the little pond. So come on by anytime. Our doors are open every day. Well, almost every day, Monday through Friday at a minimum. 9 till about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. So if you want to just pop in, you know, have some coffee. We always got coffee. We're coffee addicts there, Cedric, especially for him to be so young. But when I have some coffee, come in. Want to beat me up, come in. Just come to the office and do it. And you know, we'll be there. And we're happy to accept and open our doors to our constituents because we really do love our constituents. Some of the legislation that we worked on, we worked on criminal justice reform is important to me. And I'm gonna tell you why. Criminal justice reform, what's happening is your tax dollars are being spent and drained because of how our criminal system is. Right now we have laws that are on the book that are archaic. And I'm gonna give you an example of one of the things that I learned that I'm working on for next year. So let's say, and I want you to understand this. being tough on crime means being tough on the crimes that you need to be tough on. And I want to say that, I want to preface with that because right now, as a state, we call ourselves being tough on crime, but being tough on all of the crimes. So, and remember, you have two types of crimes. Only two. You have crimes that make you mad, and you have crimes that make you scared. We should be incarcerating the crimes that make us scared. We should be finding alternatives for the crimes that make us mad. Now, let me give you an example of what happens. Let's say, for instance, if you got a guy that's been in the penal system and he gets out on parole, right? So that means that the parole board has vetted this person and said, okay, he's no longer a harm to society, so we're going to release him on these conditions of parole. One of those conditions is that he pays a fine every month. That fine is about $45 per month. So this is a guy that just came out of prison, and he has to pay this fine of $45 per month. Okay? Now, he has to pay $45 per month. Now, most of you understand that the person coming out of prison is not the easiest person that's going to find a job. We all understand that, right? But he still has to pay that fine of $45 per month. Well, what the Tennessee penal system is doing is, if that individual misses paying that $45 per month, then they'll put him back in prison for not paying that $45 a month. Now, here's where it affects you. If he misses paying that $45 per month 3 times, they're going to put him back in prison to serve the rest of his time out. Okay? So $45 times 3, where are my mathematicians at? That's about $135, right? I see all the educators nodding their heads. Thank you. So that's $135 that he missed paying to the state of Tennessee. Well, it costs us $128 per day to house him. So I want you to think about that math. It costs the taxpayers of Tennessee $128 per day to house this individual because he missed paying $135. So we're paying for that exponentially because he missed paying $135. And then here's the other thing. Let's say he was in there for a nonviolent drug charge, right? Let's say he had marijuana on him or something and he got sentenced to prison. He's in there for a nonviolent drug charge. They revoke his parole because he didn't pay his fines, and he's back in there now. Then you have the axe murderer or the gang member that's out here shooting up the place that gets a prison sentence. But we have to release him early because there are no beds to put him in the prison. Because we put this guy back in prison because he didn't pay $135. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example of that. Y'all remember maybe about 5 months ago, 6 months ago now, there was a guy down there from Shelby County that went down to DeSoto County. I think he shot 2 deputies. Y'all remember that? And what happens is this, so y'all understand what we deal with. What happens is this. After and of course we don't want them shooting or hurting any law enforcement officers. But after that happened, the sheriff of DeSoto County was on the news and he said, in his news conference, and he said, this guy should have never been out of prison. Look at his rap sheet. And he was pointing the finger at Tennessee. Look at his rap sheet. And you know what? He was 100% right. This guy should have never been out of prison based on his violent rap sheet. Crimes that make us scared. Based on his violent rap sheet, he should have never been out of prison. But we had to let him out of prison because we're incarcerating people that might have had a little bit of marijuana on them or something like that. Now, here's the other thing. So they do that in the press conference, right? Say he should have never been out of prison. But then when we're at I sit on the criminal committee at the state, so you know. When we're working on the laws to find alternative sentencing for non-violent crimes or victimless crimes, it's the same law enforcement that comes up to the state capitol and push against us changing the criminal laws. Y'all follow me on that? So because what happens is they'll ask the Sheriff's Association or the Police Association or other people in law enforcement, well, how do y'all feel about us not incarcerating or giving felons to people with small amounts of marijuana. And they'll come up there and say, no, marijuana is the gateway drug and we need to lock them all up. But you're also saying when this guy comes down here and shoots a law enforcement officer, that he should have never been out. Well, we can't have it both ways. We can't have it all ways. We can't afford it both ways. Because again, remember, $128 per day to house these individuals. And let me give you an example of a law that should be changed, that's a fight to change. Our marijuana laws right now, if an individual is in possession of a half ounce of marijuana with a little bit more in his ashtray, he receives the same sentence as someone that was convicted of criminally negligent homicide, of murder, of killing someone. I want you to think about what I just said now. So you can have a handful of marijuana on you, and that spread is that handful of marijuana up to 10 pounds. 10 pounds of marijuana will cover this state. So that handful of marijuana in your pocket, up to 10 pounds, and you receive the same penalty. Now I can understand that with 10 pounds, but understand for that college kid or that high schooler that's walking around here that was smoking a little bit, I can't understand that. Whether you agree with smoking marijuana or not, that's still that penalty. We're tying up the beds and making felons out of kids because they decide to smoke a little pot. And I'm not advocating for them smoking pot, I'm not. But what I am saying is, doggone it, let's not tie them up with the felonies so we can put the drive-by shooters in there with the felonies. So that's all I'm saying. And so when we go up there and we try to change these and try to readjust these laws, we get pushback from law enforcement who's being affected more than anybody by these laws because they're out there having to fight the fight. So we need them to stand down on laws that make us mad and stand up on laws that make us scared. And I'm glad, I'm honored, I appreciate that the Speaker of the House has had me on a criminal committee since I've been up there. And so these are some of the things that we're working on. And also what we did, we passed the expungement laws to where we reduced the fees for expungement. So again, someone coming out of prison, their expungement fees were close to $300 plus, almost $400 as a matter of fact, to get their records expunged. Now, if an individual has made a mistake, served his time, came out, then we got to find a way. It's beneficial to us to find a way to get this person back into society, back working, back with his family, back being a father if he's a father to his children, because if not, his children are going to repeat the same cycle. But what we're doing, remember, what we're doing is right now under Tennessee law, you'll be paying for that mistake for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. I had a guy that was working in one of my houses. He was pouring concrete for me. He pulled me to the side. He said, man, I committed a crime. This is a drug crime, as a matter of fact. Over 40 years ago, I think he was 69 years old. He committed the crime when he was 19. It was still following him. He hadn't been in any trouble since then. And it was still following him. I mean, what's he gonna do? And so we did pass another law that would allow for expunction for those that had committed, those crimes before 1989, because it just doesn't make sense to keep making people pay for the crime over and over and over and over. Some things that we're working on also is cleaning up the child support laws. Child support laws are, and as I found, are not conducive to make sure that the families are working together to support the child. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of fathers, because in the state of Tennessee, let's say, for instance, let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, and y'all ladies, don't run me out of here with Rex and pitchforks, y'all let me finish, okay? Let's say, for instance, I see some people giving me the eye up here. Child support laws, I'm just kidding. So let's say, for instance, you have a custodial parent, which most of the time that's the mother. Non-custodial parent is the father in most cases. Let's say, for instance, they had a child, and the child is now 17 years old. And for whatever reason, they break up, they get mad at each other, they break up. And then someone will file, the custodial parent files a child support order. Well, right now under the law in the state of Tennessee, they go back to the birth of that child. 17 years. 17 years. 17 years of arrears. All of a sudden, out of the blue, this father is stuck, or a non-custodial parent is stuck with 17 years of arrears. Now, how do you catch up? I don't know hard way. If I was in a situation that I got hit with 6 years of arrears, I don't have a problem. And what happens is this: if they cannot pay it or cannot keep up with it, then, which is to me even more crazy, is the state then goes after their driver's license. Well, let me go further. They go after their driver's license, then they go after their occupational license. So if you got a license to be a barber, they go and take that license. Well, maybe it's me, but if you want me to pay the money back, and you take my driver's license, and you take my license to work, how do I pay the money back? So those are some of the things that we're dealing with. So those are some of the things, it just does not, I don't know who the brainiac was that came up with that idea, but it just does not make sense. And then what happens, once they take that, and if they're still not caught up, they end up, those fathers end up in jail. And now tell me, how is it for the good of the child if the father is locked up in jail? Because then the streets are going to be raising the child. How is it for the good of the child? So I started digging. I found out that there's a motivation by the Department of Human Service to keep these child support orders in place because they get a federal match from the federal government for more enforcement. So they tried to tell me, well, it's all for the good of the child, it's all for the welfare of the child. But then when I dug and dug, see, when you start peeling back these policies, you start finding the real motivation. Most of the time that motivation is money. And so I found out that they receive a 40% match on all child support orders from the federal government and specifically for use for more enforcement. Not for use in bringing the child and the father and the mother and the father together, but for more enforcement, more taking of licenses, more jail time, more of whatever they have to do to enforce the child support laws. So now, let me be clear. Let me be 100% clear. The non-custodial parents need to support the custodial parents and their children. Plain and simple. Stop having children if you don't want to support them. Plain and simple. I still stand by that. Still stand by that. But I also stand by the fact that we need to find a different means of enforcement other than removing their ability to make the money to pay the child support back. It just doesn't make sense. It cannot possibly work. Some of the things that I just want to remind you of a couple of things also. And I'm not going to get on my pedestal about the Achievement School District. I think most of y'all know where I stand with the Achievement School District. All right, so I'm not gonna. Y'all seen enough of it on TV and enough talk about that. But I am thankful that our namesake school, Raleigh Egypt High School, is now going into the I-Zone. And so we're expecting good things, and we have a new principal there, Principal Meeks. And I don't know if she came in. Did she come in? Hey, there she is. Come up here for a second. Come on up here for a second. Nice try, back there in the cut. Y'all please give her a warm round. Raleigh, welcome. She is representing our Raleigh High School. Come on,
I'm Shirley Meeks. I actually started my education career at Raleigh Egypt High School. I started there as a teacher in 2000, taught there for 7 years, English, and then 2.5 years as an assistant principal. Then moved all the way over to the other side of town to Oak Haven High School, and then 5 years as principal of Oak Haven Middle School. But my roots are really in Raleigh because I grew up in Rosemark on Godwin Road, and of course if you needed anything, you either had to drive to Raleigh or Millington. So of course my roots are still there, and I'm just really, really excited to be back at Raleigh Egypt High School. And if you want to support the school at all, if you have any questions, I will have an open door policy. You are welcome at any time.
Thank you. And Earl, not telling you how to do your job, of course, but we have to have her up here to speak if we can. But I just wanted to make sure that the community, y'all meet her. We're excited about it. We're excited about the job that Principal Britton did. She has some shoes to fill, and the culture in Raleigh Egypt is changing definitely for the better. And I'm there and on campus myself to see it for myself, and I'm excited about it. Thank you, Principal Meeks. We're excited to have you. Look forward to great things. We're going to be having another town hall meeting on child support because this is an ongoing process to change the child support laws, and information will be coming out about that. And I'm about to wrap up, Brother Graham, before you get your hook out and pull me off. But everybody else will be gone, right? Some of the things I'm going to be working on for next year is automatic voter registration. Of course, stopping the removal of the driver's license and occupational license. Continue to work on criminal justice reform. I just want to touch on real quick the governor's gas tax. I did support the governor's gas tax, and let me tell you why. Ultimately, the tax would save, the way we had it structured, it would save our community, our working class people, our seniors, $2 net, and would only cost $5 net for the increase in the gas tax. So the increase in the gas tax was $5 for the average citizen, but the reduction in the grocery taxes was $7. So I was able to support that. Now, also I do want to make this announcement. I thought about holding it, but I guess I'll let you guys know now. We have a farmer's market coming right there at the what I call the foot of Austin P. Used to be the old Sarah Chevrolet property. And so that's going to be, we're working on the farmer's market there. We got the okay from the governor, got the okay from the mayor of Memphis, Jim Strickland. They're working together to make the transfer of the property because the state owns the property. It's something I've been working on quietly for the last 2 or 3 years. And now it's actually going to happen. And so we're excited about that. We want to put a Class A farmer's market there because it is the gateway to the Austin P corridor. We are excited about that. And also, we want to make sure that our students and our citizens have access to fresh foods. And here's the good thing about it. Before I talk about what's actually going to be on the grounds. Austin P is the corridor to the ag area, of Shelby County in West Tennessee. So all of the farmers live out that way, right? And so they come straight in here, sell their goods, and we want to teach kids to grow and have some urban markets and dispatch from the farmers market to the food desert so that people have access to fresh foods. That's a real challenge that we're going to feel with this farmers market. On the grounds of the farmers market, and I don't have plans here, and I'll be happy, Erwin and Aaron, if y'all will have us back to show you what the farmers market is going to look like. We have, of course, the farmers market, and we have a football field for all our Little League football teams. And here's the problem. I'm a football fan. I used to coach the Raleigh Central Tigers, for those of you that remember the Raleigh Central Tigers. Our Little League football teams play their home games in Orange Mound, and that's sacrilegious to me. They should be playing their home games right here in Raleigh so that the Raleigh community can support our little people playing football and coming up through the ranks so that we can continue to feed our great Raleigh Egypt High School football team because it's a good team now. And so we have that football field, walking trail, and also a performing arts pavilion type of outdoor shell on the grounds also. So that's what that farmers market is going to look like. We're excited about it. The plans look good. I think we were also in conversation with Wolf River Conservancy to connect the Wolf River trails to the farmers market also, so we can access the trails somehow, some way. So that's coming down the pipe. Thank you, Aaron, for that one clap. That's a big deal for us. Again, remember that portal will be the gateway, to the Austin P, to the Raleigh not just Raleigh, but Raleigh, Fraser, North Memphis, Raleigh Bartlett Business District, which is Austin P Highway. So we are downtown North Memphis. For all of the north part of the city, Austin P is downtown, and we need to act like it. So we're going to put this farmers market there and create some more excitement for our Raleigh community. All right? Thank y'all again for having me. I'm happy to be your state representative in Antonio Parkinson. Thank you so much.
Now y'all know why I'm so proud of a true civil servant and a good person to be our representative. And thank you. Thank you for all that you've done and all that you will do. The main thing is that we've got representatives that have good level heads on their shoulders and that will continue to do the best for our fellow citizens. Thank you again, Antonio. Now I'm going to bring Aaron Fowles up here. He has a couple of announcements to make.
Thank you. Thanks to Antonio Parkinson. Throughout the session, I kind of watched some of the goings on my lunch hour, and I was kind of viciously communicating with him, and he graciously responded and calmed me down, said it was going to be okay, and it generally was. First, talking about the gateway to Raleigh, has everyone seen the new sign? Yes. Austin P. So, Tom Marshall. Right now it's bordered with orange construction fencing, but I believe it's going to have some landscaping, and I don't know if there's going to be a security fence around it as well. Kevin, do you know? By any chance?
I've got a message,
All right, Kevin will share some information on that. It's pretty cool. We are still looking for a membership chairperson, though. We might have somebody who would step up to that, but we also are hoping to find some other opportunities for people to serve in the Raleigh Community Council moving forward. So if you have any ideas, especially given that we have this $5,000 grant that we're going to use for marketing the Raleigh Community Council and try to get more people into it, and I hope Principal Meeks we can reach out to the school community as well to help build the Raleigh Council, from the student side and from the parent side. And last, next month we will be meeting at 6 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. So everybody say 6 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. Downstairs, not upstairs. Downstairs, not upstairs. Okay, that should help you. And it's free ice cream, bring everybody. I believe the typical goings on is we provide the ice cream and you all provide anything else that would like to go. Toppings, or we can call them sidelings in case you want to bring cookies, muffins. You may not want to put a cookie on top of the ice cream. You might want to put it on the side of the ice cream. But we will provide the ice cream, the bowls, and the spoons, and you will provide the rest. And I believe that, I hope you all do. Is anyone here without power besides our running man? All right, well, we're going to lay hands on you and hope you get it soon, because the guys were out in our yard today, and they were very, very friendly about letting us know that it'll just be one more day. So, treasurer's report, I don't have on me because we have no power. We don't have full access to things, but we can tell you that we did receive and deposit the $5,000 grant from the Shelby County Commission. So thank you in abstention to Shelby County Commissioner Brooks. And without further ado, unless Kevin, do you have anything you'd like to add? Sorry, Erwin.
Okay, I have a communique from Councilman Bill Morrison. He's got the picture of the Welcome to Raleigh sign, and it says, "Welcome to Raleigh, City of Memphis." And Councilman Morrison, this is what he sent me. "I wish I could be there tonight with you to announce another step in the redevelopment of the Raleigh. Unfortunately, my daughter is in ICU at Methodist Germantown, which is where I am. But I want Raleigh to celebrate because today the irrigation system And MLG&W water service has been installed at our new sign. Landscaping goes in tomorrow, and the fence will start Monday. Contractor will place a temporary fence around the new landscaping for the weekend to make sure it is protected. I hope all of you will drive by and enjoy what your efforts have helped bring our community. Your Councilman, Bill Morrison. Councilman Morrison, our prayers are with you right now and with your daughter.
If anyone is here for the first time or is a guest, or a guest for several times for that matter, I just want to remind everybody that our dues are very reasonable. It's only $20 per person per year, or a $30 annual fee for a whole family. So, and that goes from January to the following January. And anything that would be paid now, like for new dues, could be prorated. So, if anyone would like to join, please see Aaron when the meeting is over. But we'd love to have you accept any new memberships if anyone should want to join. And we certainly want to extend a warm welcome to the people who are here, and just be thinking of the ones who need to. Are there any other announcements or items or things that people want to say?
My name is Martha Logston, and I live in Lutheran Village. A couple of weeks ago, actually on April the 27th, there was a story in the Commercial Appeal, one line, that said the City Council had approved $475,000 for a dog park on Mud Island. And having come from a small town in Michigan where we put in a dog park for less than $20,000, I was rather shocked, and so I've been spending some time trying to find out about our dog park. It's going to be 5 times as big as the dog park in Overton Park, which I have not seen yet. And it's going to be pretty fancy. It's going to have structures for shade. They're spending a lot of money on making it handicapped accessible, but it only has 10 parking spaces, 2 of which are handicap designated. So my thought is that this dog park is really for the people who live on Mud Island, because 10 parking spaces is not going to be much for people driving to take their dogs to run in the park. $485,000 or $75,000 shocked me. So I've been calling around trying to piece together what's happening, and apparently half of the cost is going to be paid by Hollywood Feed. Originally this started out as a plan for a $100,000 dog park, but by the time they put all the specifications in for extending the walkway and putting paths in and building structures for shade, they sent out, apparently, and had bids on it, got 2 bids, and $475,000 is what it's going to be. So that means that about $240,000 of Memphis taxpayer money is going into this dog park for an area that most people in Memphis don't go to, Mud Island. And I think the population there is fairly upscale, although I haven't spent much time there. Anyway, I'm concerned. I'm trying to find out what the politics of it are, because there has to be a politics involved in this. I know that the council chair is from the district where the dog park is, and he's apparently been interested in this for a number of years. But if any of you have any insights into what the politics really are, one possibility would be they're trying to keep something else from going in this spot. It may be anti-riverfront development or something like that, I don't know, but whatever it is, I'm just upset that a city that cuts benefits for firemen and police officers and can't afford to attack blight any more than they do, is spending $240,000 of taxpayer money for a dog park. Now, I love dogs, I should say, but I don't understand this, and I don't want to be the only one who's paying attention. So if you know members of the city council, maybe you could find out who voted for it and who voted against it. And find out how this happened, because I think this, if it weren't such a bad pun, I'd call this a boondoggle. At any rate, I just don't know what's going to come of it. I suspect it's already too far down the road, but I didn't read. Normally the city council fights with each other, I thought, and things get in the newspaper. But I didn't know anything about this at all until 2 days after the last city council meeting. So anyway, if you hear anything, I'd appreciate your contacting me. I'm Martha Logston, again, at 505-2481 is my phone number. I don't know there's anything we can do to stop it, but we sure could make some noise about this kind of strange spending. Thank you.
Ms. Lawson, do you happen to know if this has already gone through the system and all been approved, or is it still in the process, or do you know? If you don't know, that's fine.
The commercial appeal thing says the council approved $475,811 in funding to create a dog park on Mud Island, and then it goes on and talks about something else. So I have talked to somebody at the Parks Department who's quite knowledgeable about it. I don't know though whether they've started building.
Well, thanks so much for bringing it to our attention. We'll look into it and see if we we'll look into it and see if kind of see what's going on, because I had not heard anything about it until you just mentioned it this evening. Is there anyone else who has any things they'd like to bring up or discuss? Because we're going to.
Let me do one thing. Representative Parkinson, have you got any insight of when Highway 14 might be completed?
No, I don't have insight on when it'll be completed, but I'm glad it's on the highest priority.
Yeah.
And that came out of our negotiation with the governor's gas tax also.
Okay.
So we're excited about that. All right. But I can find out.
I know there's going to be some issues going down through the bottoms, probably after raised it up instead of allowing the water and stuff to flow up underneath it whenever it floods.
Right.
So I imagine that's going to be a big problem.
And it's going to be done in English, so understand that it's going to be done in English. So,
Yeah.
but they're moving pretty fast. I'm excited.
Well, we're going to dispense with the secretary's minutes and combine them in with the July meeting if it's appropriate to do so. And without further ado, do I hear a motion to dismiss the meeting? Do you hear a second? Okay. Well, in that case, thank everybody for coming out this evening, and just have a safe drive home. And we look forward to seeing you and sharing some ice cream and a lot of other good things you might want to bring this next July evening. Thank you so much.
All right, we had 57 people here today. 57. So good crowd, real good crowd.